Hello everyone! Welcome to the Teachers Forum 2026. We are very happy to have you here and excited to start this journey together.
Hello teachers! And this year we have excellent news. It marks the beginning of Teachers Rewards, your professional development program. Throughout the year, you have many chances to grow in teaching skills, language skills, and the use of pedagogical resources, all to make bilingual classroom even more efficient in your school.
True, Rafa! Teachers Rewards is here to help you improve your teaching practices, have more impact in the classroom, and reward your effort with vouchers in the teacher's shop. The process is simple. Take part in training events, earn Ed coins, and exchange them for gift cards and memorable experiences.
It's not just about rewards, it's about learning and growing together. And speaking of growing, today's event is packed with practical ideas to show how teachers can be the key to unlock students' global citizenship.
Yes! First, we will explore green skills, what they are, why they matter, and how lessons can help students care for the planet. Then, we'll look at technology and AI to make learning smarter and more meaningful. Finally, we'll share ways to help students speak English more confidently.
We want you guys to leave inspired and ready to try new ideas in your classroom. So, let's get started. Our first speaker is Viviane Jesus. She'll show us the key skills to help students prepare for a better and more sustainable future. Let's check it out.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here talking about green skills, a topic that connects language learning, global citizenship, and the future of our planet. Today, I want to start with a simple question. What kind of world are we preparing our students for? Climate change is not a distant problem anymore. It's part of our students' daily reality. In Brazil, 90% of young people say they are worried about the climate crisis, and more than half report feeling anxious or powerless about the future. As educators, we have a unique role to transform this anxiety into action, helping our students see themselves as active change makers in their communities and in the world. So, what exactly are green skills? The United Nations and the International Labour Organization define green skills as the knowledge, abilities, values, and attitudes that enable people to live in, develop, and support a sustainable and resource-efficient society. In other words, green skills are not only about working in green jobs, like solar energy or recycling. They're about thinking and acting sustainably in any context, at home, at school, or in any career. We can think of them in three interconnected dimensions. The first one is connected to technical green skills, which are specific competencies related to sustainable practices, such as creating eco-friendly solutions in science projects. The second dimension refers to cognitive green skills, which involve critical thinking, problem-solving, and systems thinking. And the last one is related to social-emotional green skills, which are perhaps the most important in education, including empathy, collaboration, communication, and a sense of responsibility for others and for the planet. So, green skills are not only skills for the environment, they are skills for life, helping our students become resilient, ethical, and proactive citizens. Why does this matter so much now? Brazil, with its incredible natural richness, is both part of the solution and deeply affected by the problem. The Amazon is losing trees, the Cerrado is losing water, our coastal cities are facing stronger storms. All of these issues affect our students around the country every day. And as educators, We need to help them reflect about such problems. These changes are shaping our students' future. The World Economic Forum estimates that by 2030, more than 100 million new jobs in several fields will require green skills. But it's not just about employability. Green skills prepare our students to navigate complex global challenges with creativity and hope, and to see themselves not as passive observers, but as active agents of change.
Hi everyone, I'm Dani from Edify and I invited teacher Daniele, who works at Colégio São Francisco Xavier in Ipatinga, to share her smart move about green skills. So tell us, Dani, how can you develop green skills with your students?
I'm Daniele and I teach 6th graders. To develop green skills, we had a garage sale activity. Students brought second-hand items and sold to their classmates and teachers. It's simple, but it helps students learn green skills like recycling, reusing material, reducing waste, and making more sustainable choices in the future. By participating in garage sales, we show that small actions can make a big difference. And that's my smart move.
Hello everyone, I'm Aline and I invited teacher Kai from Leroy Teresina, Piauí to talk about what he did with his students to develop their sense of green skills via the project Empatia. So tell me Kai, what was your smart move?
Hi, I'm teacher Kyle and I teach 8th graders and 9th graders in the bilingual program, and to develop green skills, I always like to ask the students to bring to the classroom their experiences when it comes to talking about green and the environment and all of these elements, because we live in a city which is known as the green city, so it's common for them to get in touch with this kind of topic because in their houses, in the houses of their relatives, that's something that's pretty common for them. For example, to prepare for the Projeto Empatia 2025, I asked my students to develop a debate simulating what would happen in the COP30 event. So with that, they had the opportunity to develop their critical thinking skills and also share their opinion on the matter. So that's what I usually do with them, bring their reality to the classroom. So that's my smart move.
When students learn to think critically, to collaborate, to design solutions for real problems, they're not only learning about sustainability, they're practicing it. As bilingual educators, teaching English opens doors to global conversations about sustainability, ethics, and innovation. When students discuss climate issues in English, they're not only developing language skills, they're developing a voice that can be heard beyond classroom walls. When we teach through the perspective of global citizenship, we help learners think critically about their role in building a greener world, both locally and globally. So, what can we take from this? Green skills are not a separate subject. They are part of a mindset that helps our students understand the world, connect with others, and act for change. Every lesson can be an opportunity to develop awareness and hope. As educators, we are not just teaching English, we are teaching the language of the future, a language of empathy, responsibility, and action. So, as you go back to your classrooms, I'd like to leave you with a question. How can your lessons become spaces for students to imagine and design a more sustainable future? Because sometimes one small change in our teaching can lead to big changes in how students see the world, right?
A great starting, Rafa. Green skills is not a subject. It's a mindset that helps students prepare for a sustainable future. It teaches them to look at the world with care and responsibility.
Yes, absolutely right. Green skills are skills for life. When we teach them, we help the students become proactive citizens. That is, people who care, think, and take action. And these skills, they are also about empathy, teamwork, and making good choices every day.
Yeah, absolutely, Rafa. And the bilingual classroom is the perfect place for these meaningful conversations, right? where students can learn to think critically and become real change makers. And now, this connects us directly to our next video. Luciana Ilache will share 5 simple activities from our materials that helps students build green skills. Let's have a look at this video.
Hello everyone, I'm really happy to be here with you today. As Vivi mentioned, green skills are not a separate subject. Here at Edify, we've been building an ecosystem of materials that help students grow into informed, confident and sustainable global citizens. One of our major launches this year is SmartGen, a new book series created to prepare learners for the world they already live in. SmartGen was designed with green skills at its core, and every lesson, project and challenge helps the students explore real issues, think critically, collaborate, and take meaningful action. And why focusing on green skills? Because they help students become critical citizens who question problems, imagine solutions, and act together. Green skills build a real sense of agency and purpose, showing young people that their choices matter and that they can start improving their world right now. They turn learners into agents of change. And the best part, developing these skills doesn't require big projects. They grow through simple, meaningful classroom experiences, exactly the kind we embed throughout our materials. So today, I want to share 5 easy activities already present in our resources that teachers can use to start developing green skills. No extra preparation needed, just small steps with big impact. Let's start with an activity from the Go Bilingual CLIL series. In CLIL 5, Chapter 7, students learn about global warming. Here, they read a text on climate change and discuss actions they can take to protect the planet. Bringing real environmental challenges into lessons helps the students relate more and learn more because the content reflects their daily experiences. Now, here's an example from SmartGen CLIL. In this activity, the students question, compare, and evaluate essential green skills. Through small problem-solving challenges, SmartGen invites learners to rethink their routines and consider how to improve them. This next example comes from Go Bilingual CLIL again. Learners go on a nature scavenger hunt, counting how many natural elements they can observe around them. Simple outdoor observations help develop curiosity and emotional connection. Other activities like nature journals, sensory walks, or outdoor sketching invite students to experience nature and learn how to care about it. Here is another example from SmartGen CLIL 6 that shows how green skills go beyond environmental knowledge. They also involve soft skills like active listening, teamwork, and shared responsibility. SmartGen projects encourage students to act as change makers and share their ideas with the school community, inspiring others to take action too. Finally, one of our greatest responsibilities as educators is helping students believe that change is possible. And green skills offer a positive path, hope through action. SmartGen promotes this mindset through its Green Hope approach, discussing sustainability with optimism, not fear. For example, in this CLIL activity, students read about people who have made a big impact on the fight against climate change, and then reflect on how they can contribute themselves. You see, these are simple steps with powerful results. Together, With SmartGen and all the other Edify resources, we can shape curious, creative, and responsible young citizens who are ready for a sustainable future.
It's great to see how small activities can already help students build green skills in a simple and natural way. And the best part is that you can find some of these ideas in Edify materials. We are talking about activities that are easy to use, practical, and meaningful for everyday lessons.
Yes, Rafa, you're right. Helping students care about the world starts with the little things we do in class. When students stop to think, work together, and take small actions, they begin to understand that they can make a difference. That's how they start seeing themselves as part of the solution, not just observers.
And speaking of helping students grow, our next topic is about supporting learners' development in a smart and critical way. But now, with technology. AI can be a powerful tool when it's used to help learners think, create, and participate in a meaningful way. So let's hear from Nelson Toledo, who will answer a key question. How can we use AI and still keep teachers and students at the center of learning? Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Welcome, Nelson.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining me as we explore a question that matters more than ever. How can we use AI in ways that truly keep humanity at the center? We are living in a moment where AI tools are becoming part of everyday life. So the real question isn't just how to use them, but how to use them well in a way that supports empathy, creativity, and critical thinking. So, in this video, I want to look at how artificial intelligence can enhance teaching and learning by amplifying what we already do best, fostering human connection, curiosity, and meaningful learning. Let's get started? Well, when we talk about AI in education, we are not just talking about systems that help us grade faster or plan lessons more efficiently. AI can become a partner, a tool that supports human agency instead of replacing it. And to do that, we need to think not only about human-centered AI tools, but about building a true human-centered learning environment. One where education is not only about measurable outcomes, but also imagination, curiosity, and collaboration. So, what does it mean to use AI in a human-centered way in the classroom? First, it means using technology to empower learning, not to control it. It also means teachers using AI to support student meaningful work instead of letting AI guide every step. In this way, AI becomes scaffolding that helps students develop their own ideas. And through all of this, real relationships remain at the center, and AI becomes one resource among many, alongside peers, teachers, and the wider community, but never the master. And because agency matters, human-centered AI also encourages reflection. For instance, AI can suggest ideas or invite students to think about their progress, but final decisions always rest with the learner. That ownership is essential for meaningful growth. Of course, adopting AI also means modeling responsible use, understanding privacy, recognizing limitations, and helping students think critically about the tools they engage with. AI shouldn't reduce agency, it should expand it. You might be wondering what this looks like in real life, right? Let's see. Imagine an English class where students are working on a project about local environmental issues. Instead of giving them a fixed script or worksheet, the teacher first invites them to brainstorm their own ideas. Then students use AI as a creative partner, like Idea Map, for example, to refine what they've already imagined, asking for alternative ways to express an opinion, trying out different tones, or experimenting with vocabulary they had not considered. You see, the key point here is that students stay in control. The AI supports them, but their voice, their identity, and their choices guide the final product. Let's see another example. Imagine another class where students write a personal narrative or an opinion paragraph. Before they submit their work, they use an AI tool such as Google Gemini to help them reflect on their writing. They might ask, is my message clear? Are there other ways I could organize my ideas? Which part sounds strongest and why? Instead of correcting everything automatically, the AI offers suggestions and asks guiding questions. Students then decide what to accept, what to ignore, and what to change. And through that process, they develop agency, metacognition, and real linguistic awareness. So, as we come to the end of this video, let's think. What kind of future can we build, not just with AI, but through AI? What about a future where technology supports human flourishing, where every student has a voice, a choice, and the space to be creative and collaborative? Where teachers are free to mentor, inspire, and design learning experiences that truly matter. Let's imagine classrooms as places of agency, connection, and creativity, powered by AI, but really centered on us. Sounds inspiring, right?
As we've seen, AI works best in education when it supports what we already do. Connecting with students, encouraging reflection, and helping them take charge of their learning. Right, Rafa?
And when it comes to making learning happen, we need simple and continuous information about students' progress, not only at the end of the term, but across the year. That's why assessment is so powerful. It's not about grades or pressure. It's about understanding progress, adjusting our lessons, and supporting students. And technology can be a strong and efficient ally.
Yeah, absolutely, Rafa. So now, to explore how assessment can be simple, practical, and truly connected to students' growth, we'll welcome Raquel Carlos. She'll show how Edify tools turn continuous assessment into smarter planning, more confident teaching, and more motivation in class. Here we go.
Hello, Edify teachers. Are you ready to make 2026 the most impactful year yet? I'm pretty sure you are. Well, we already know that assessing student learning provides valuable insight and evidence we need to better plan and help students speak English with confidence. But how about making assessments less about grading tests and more about stimulating growth every single day? Let's stop chasing grades and stop nurturing progress. Let's talk about the incredible technology tools you already have as an Edify partner that can transform your classroom and simplify your life. At Edify, we view assessment as an essential, ongoing part of teaching and learning. Think about the three main purposes. Assessment of learning, the final measure of achievement at the end of a term. Your exams, final projects, or Edify certs. Assessment for learning, used during the process to monitor progress and give feedback, like students check in at Edify Play. Assessment as learning. This is a game changer. It's where students become active evaluators of their own progress. For example, following the personalized tracks on Edify Play. Our goal is to make the most of continuous assessment to constantly gather evidence. This allows you to observe, interpret, and adjust your next steps immediately. And this is where technology becomes your biggest ally. Now, let's bring this idea of continuous assessment right into your classroom. Edify Play is a blended learning solution that provides the extended practice and exposure students need. It frees you from extra homework prep while constantly generating rich data. You can use this data to instantly diagnose learning gaps and personalize instruction. This is how you make every lesson count and plan for more effective lessons. Let's look at the student's journey and how your assessment can make a difference. At the start of the year, a placement test directs them to their own individual learning track. To assign book-related homework, you use the teacher's toolkit and send them engaging missions. Students love them. Every activity, every mission, every autonomous homework completion is evidence of their learning. And for speaking, students have Chat Buddy. This innovative conversational feature provides a safe environment for practicing speaking anytime. It's continuous oral practice. Consistently encourage its use, okay? All this rich student data is compiled in the Edify Play reports on the Teacher's Toolkit. This is your diagnostic tool. The report lets you identify gaps. They pinpoint exactly where the class or an individual is struggling. Plan interventions. You use concrete data to plan targeted pedagogical interventions. At the end of each semester, students complete the check-in. These performance assessments give you an accurate measure of their ability to use the language. The results, available in your reports, provide evidence of achievement for the entire school community, parents, leaders, and students themselves. How powerful is it? If you are an Edify teacher, it means you are part of a community that believes in intentional, coherent, and fair assessment. The tools are here to support your expertise, making the assessment process simpler and your focus clearer, promoting language learning and a lot of communication in class. We are so excited to partner with you for an amazing year. Take a few minutes to explore Edify Play reports in your Teacher's Toolkit today. You have the insights. Now let's use them to make every learner feel motivated and enchanted. Happy assessing!
Hi everyone, I'm Daniela from Edify, and I invited teacher Vanessa, who works at Sem Manhuaçu, to share her smart move about Edify Play. The question is, how can you use Edify Play to boost your students' learning? Let's see what she has to say.
Hi, I'm Vanessa and I teach the 6th graders. To boost learning with Edify Play, I like to analyze the mission before sending as homework. After each lesson, I send the students the missions related to what they learned in class. I also like to encourage my students to use the chat buddy. I check the topics available, and based on those topics, I select some questions that a student can use during their conversation. It's simple, but it really helps the students consolidate what they learn. That's my smart move.
Hi everyone, I'm Roger from Edify, and today I'm here with Cissa from Colégio Wenda Divina Providência, and she's gonna share her smart moves about using Edify Play. Cissa, tell me, how do you use Edify Play to boost your students' learning?
Hi everybody, I'm teacher Cissa from Colégio Wenda Divina Providência here in Primavera do Leste, Mato Grosso. And with the 7, 8, and 9 graders, I like to show them how to access the platform first, but most importantly, I want them to see in practice how to improve their speaking skills, their listening skills, and to review and internalize everything that we see in class. And I always remind them that they can form groups, compete, and even help each other. And the best part is that they are not doing the homework, they are playing the homework. So that's my smart move. I hope you are having smart move there as well.
Great job. Thank you.
From the placement test at the start of the year, permissions and book-related homework in the Teacher's Toolkit, every activity is out of the student's assessment journey. All of this data helps us identify gaps, plan interventions, and track progress, with technology as a powerful ally.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Rafa. Continuous assessment doesn't just show where students are. It helps us understand what they need and guide them step by step. And Edify Play makes this easy. We can collect evidence every day, monitor learning, spot gaps, and personalize lessons. The insights show who needs extra support and when to provide modeling, scaffolding, or any additional practice.
Yes, and as we get close to the end, let's talk about one of the main skills we want students to develop: speaking English with confidence. In the next video, Túlio Santos, Ana Thorncroft, and Chris Gossett will share fundamental strategies to help the students speak more, build confidence, and use English actively in class. Stay with us. Your classroom is about to become even more interactive and engaging.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, talking about a topic that is very dear to Edify and to me personally as a teacher. And here with me, I have Anna Thornegraft. Thank you, Anna, for being with us.
Thanks to you. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here today with all of you.
Yeah, so the topic we're going to talk about is speaking in class. But more than that, we're talking about getting students to speak confidently in class. And we know this should be our end game, right? But Anna, we know that it's a big challenge. To be honest, it's one of the biggest challenges that many of our Edify teachers face, right? Which is promoting this confident use of language. So, what do you say?
Yeah, that's getting students to speak and participate actively can be a real challenge. Not just sit in the class and listen to the teacher.
Right.
But, Tulio, that's what planning makes a total difference for a lesson, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's all about planning, right? And also promoting confident use of language. And interesting enough, Chris Cossette has, sent us a message, okay, about that. We're going to talk about, we're going to have some tips actually on how to promote speaking in class in a very confident way, and also how to apply planning to your lessons. So teachers, be ready to take notes.
One of the main challenges teachers face is to actually use class space to vary patterns of interaction. This is particularly true at schools. In many cases, students end up talking to the teachers for different reasons. It's easier as it does not require moving students around. There is also the misbelief that the classroom shouldn't be noisy. However, if one student talks to the teacher for some time, all the remaining ones may be silent or perhaps speaking in Portuguese. We should always maximize speaking opportunities in English. If students are talking in pairs, half of them will be talking at the same time. This is pure maths. You don't necessarily need to move chairs. Students can talk to a peer who's directly in front of them, behind them, or next to them. This already opens the possibility to talk to 4 different speaking partners in one single lesson. Depending on the seating plan and on the task, you can also vary the pattern of interaction to small groups of 3 or 4. Students from the same row can talk together. This adds the element of collaboration and fun. And of course, I do not mean that students cannot talk to the teacher on a one-to-one basis. However, this should be done with clear aims such as elicitation and clarification. The more students talk to one another, the more practice they get. When you're planning a lesson, the first thing you need to do is to analyze its stages and objectives. Look at specific activities and consider the best pattern of interaction that will be maximizing speaking and learning opportunities. Thus, we need to plan interaction. The second thing you need to consider is what students need to know in order to be able to speak. There are some techniques that you can rely on to involve students and that should be included in your planning. Elicit what students know about the topic, pre-teaching or revising specific vocabulary students need for the tasks, encouraging the use of language chunks. And finally, I would add ensuring there is enough personalization. Students will only speak if they have something to say. Avoid asking yes or no questions that elicit very little production. Ask open-ended questions instead. Use backup questions in case students are short of ideas. And make sure the questions or proposed tasks give students the possibility to relate the topic to their own context, lives, and experiences.
Thanks, Chris. These were amazing tips, right? Anna, what do you think of that? And also, what else can teachers do? So this is the question I have for you. What else can teachers do to help students feel more confident when speaking English?
Well, I totally agree with Chris, everything she mentioned. And getting students confidence to speak is key, is essential, right? And that's when scaffolding comes in. the kind of support you have to offer students so that they can build their confidence bit by bit, right?
Sure.
All right. So I have some examples here to illustrate what I'm trying to say. Okay, let me give you some examples then. Modeling, for instance, that's the first one. I think modeling is a must. So modeling, for instance, how students are going to express themselves, or modeling an activity, a task that they have to complete, for instance, before they engage in the actual task, right? So that's really important, and we should make sure that modeling is happening in the classroom most of the time, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, another important way of preparing students, of scaffolding, getting students ready to speak confidently, is providing them with language chunks or sentence starters. For instance, I see your point, but these are the kind of expressions that students can use to connect their ideas and speak more fluently as well.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. Scaffolding is key in boosting students' confidence, right?
That's true, but
Anyway.
I have another tip, another strategy. Drills. Don't forget the power of drills. Repetition drills, transformation drills, substitution drills, you name it. These are very important because they give students this idea of guided practice, and they start preparing them to feel more confident when they have to speak or do a particular task. All right? So all these strategies combined will definitely motivate students to feel more confident and do the task proposed in class, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Anna. That's it. As I was saying, scaffolding is key, right? And students need to feel confident, and we need to boost that confidence, right, in students. And as important as boosting their confidence is also to provide them with feedback. But not only, simple feedback. It needs to be relevant. So we're talking about positive feedback, right, Anna? So I'd like to hear from you, Ben. What role does positive feedback play in getting students to speak more, but also more confidently?
Sure thing, Tuido. Getting students positive feedback is key, is essential to motivate them to speak more confidently, obviously, right? Because when you recognize students' efforts, when you recognize their progress, they feel more motivated to speak. Also, they get less afraid of making mistakes, because that's a very important point. Students get afraid to speak and make mistakes, right, Tony? So we need to actually encourage them with positive feedback, but it has to be honest. It has to be specific. No overpraising, because it's not going to do the trick for students, right?
Give us some practical examples, please.
For instance, let's say a student has just used a new language chunk, new vocabulary, okay? It's really important to praise them, to encourage them, and say something like, well done using that new vocabulary, for instance.
That going beyond the good job or just great job and stop there, right?
Exactly, okay? We got to be more specific about it, right?
Sure.
And on the other hand, if you have some student that is struggling but still attempting to speak and just to do the task proposed, encourage the student as well, okay? Good job, well done, keep practicing, keep trying, all right? So we need to use this strategy to make sure that you're giving meaningful feedback for students, and also to get them motivated and speak more confidently.
All right, so Anna, these were awesome suggestions. Always wishing them to move forward, right?
Right.
Reaching higher. And I've got one more question for you. If you could give teachers one golden tip on how to make students truly speak English, what would it be?
Good question, Tulio. I love a golden tip.
I know you do.
All right, so as teachers, I think we should constantly ask ourselves if we are challenging our students to reach their full potential. Because if we really want to push them forward, if we really want them to improve their speaking skills, we have to push them a bit further each time, right, Twiddle?
Right.
I have some examples for you. For instance, encouraging elaboration. Don't settle for short answers, okay? So if the students have just given you a short answer, get them to elaborate. Okay, tell me more about your ideas. Why do you think that? Okay, so get them to expand on their ideas. Another very, very important one to you, and I think you will agree with me, is encourage the use of new language in class. What do I mean by that? If you've just taught a lesson and you've got students speaking, get them to use the new language, get them to use the new vocabulary, right? Don't just expect them to use the language they're already familiar with, the vocabulary they are already familiar with.
So it's comfortable, right, to keep on using the very same vocabulary all the
Exactly.
time.
Push them. You have to challenge them.
Even without making mistakes, right? It's limited.
Exactly. So we need to push them forward. So teachers, this is my golden rule for today. Keep challenging your students. Push them forward. Push them further. Okay? Make them go beyond. Okay? Don't settle for less.
100%, Anna. I'm totally with you on that. And we also need to remember that for all of this that we said to happen, guys, we need to think of planning, right? Effective planning. So when effective planning comes to play, we can make the difference in the classroom, right? And all of these tips that we suggested, they can be implemented, not only in this upcoming year, but also in your career in general. So I'd like to thank you, Anna, for being with us today.
My pleasure to you. See you next time, teachers.
And teachers, thank you so much for being with us on this one. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, this is Paula Fonseca from Edify here, and today I'm talking to teacher Natália Oliveira from Colégio Adventista do Jardim Florestal, and she's going to tell us her smart move about developing speaking.
Hello everybody, I'm Ms. Natalia and I teach multi-level students from 7th and 8th grades. To make speaking happen in my class, I use a very simple strategy. I write speaking chunks on the board. Students can use these chunks to build their answers during the class. So things, for example, I prefer this, in my opinion, or I don't know, or I'm not sure, I think that. And during the lesson, I ask some questions, and these questions can be different depending on the students and their level. So some students can get more guided questions and other students more open-ended questions. So in the middle of the class, I can say, pick one chunk and finish the sentence, please. And even the beginners and shy students start speaking because they have the support they need and they feel more confident. This strategy is important because they are usually very shy and insecure about their English. So I think using these chunks can help them boost their confidence. It's very simple, but very, very effective. And that's my smart move. Bye-bye.
That was great. So many useful tips, right? Planning carefully, using scaffolding, and giving positive feedback really helps students speak more confidently. And when the classroom is safe and supportive, students feel free to try, make mistakes, and keep improving every day.
I agree, Amanda. And other strategies like modeling and asking open-ended questions can also turn your classroom into a very communicative space. With all this progress, it shouldn't only stay in the classroom. So the question is, how can we show student speaking achievements to families and the whole school?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's exactly what our next and final content is about, Rafa. Andrea Fernandes and Daniele Felinto, an Edify teacher, will share simple, practical ways to make students' speaking progress visible. They will show how to celebrate students' learning in ways that are real, engaging, and meaningful. Let's get ready to see students' growth in action. Welcome, Andrea and Daniele.
Hello, dear teachers. Besides being an academic coordinator at Edify, I've been an English teacher for 35 years. What a mission!
Hey everyone, I'm Daniele. I'm a Fundamental Anos Iniciais teacher at INSP Jacarepaguá. I've been in the classroom for around 20 years now. It's been such a fascinating quest.
For sure, Dani. When the subject is English with everyday class at school, families' expectations shift. They want evidence. More than grades, they want to hear their children speaking. But why is that, Dani? Because English is deeply tied to parents' dreams. Dreams for their children to connect globally, access knowledge, grow academically, and have better future opportunities.
Exactly, Andrea. We know and they know that being able to speak English for real makes a total difference in someone's life, and families want that for their kids, of course.
Perfect, Dani. At Edify, part of our mission is to make students' linguistically growth visible. So today, Danielle and I will share 5 tips on how to make English more visible for families and more meaningful for students. Ready, Dani?
Yes, of course.
Are you guys ready? Great. Let's go then. Well, the first tip is called speaking walls. We usually make posters with students' photos, right? Well, we can attach QR codes linking the posters to audio or video files. We place them in hallways or at school entrances so that everyone can access the students' oral production. And the topics? Well, the topics are based on themes previously dealt with in class. For instance, the students describe a hobby, share some curiosity, make up questions, summarize a story. So many possibilities, right, Dani?
Sure, love this idea, Andrea. So fun and interactive. Well, and the second tip is related to the idea of creating opportunities for our students to show how much they have learned. By turning simple activities like making posters, some craft work, or having role plays in the classroom, for example, into presentations or expositions for both parents and the school community. We're not only making our students' progress visible to all, but also boosting our little ones' confidence and interest in the language. So, next time your students do some hands-on jobs, activity, something like that, why not call everyone to see them talk about their work? It's simple, fun, meaningful, and engaging, and there will be a lot of English being used and heard.
Couldn't agree more, Dani. Perfect, great ideas.
Thank you. And the third tip is about integrating English in all spaces at school, not only in the classroom, but also, for example, in the school hallways, like greeting students. Good morning, good afternoon. How was your break? How was your weekend? Oh, line up, please, guys. You know, in informal moments during pickup time, etc., etc. It increases the students' exposure to the English language without increasing workload for teachers. And with teachers, we don't need any extra planning to speak English outside the classroom. Every greeting, reminder, or simple question or small chat becomes meaningful input. When students see that we use English authentically, they realize that English is not only for the classroom, for activities, for exercises, but it is for real life too. And most importantly, when the community sees that students are surrounded by English because it's being used naturally, it reinforces the idea that the school truly delivers bilingual education. This strengthens the school's credibility and builds trust in the bilingual program. So, remember, make the whole school an English-speaking zone.
Wonderful, Dani.
Thank you.
Now, tip number 4 is related to assessment. To assess means to get evidence whether learning goals have been achieved. However, when it comes to oral assessment, the process is much more challenging. So in 2026, you are going to access the School Assessment Guide in the Teacher's Toolkit to support you with both written and oral assessment. The idea is to encourage the schools to have at least one oral assessment moment per semester, which can be an oral test, a classroom presentation, or even a project. In the guide, you'll find the details on how to apply different oral assessment tools that will make students' oral production much more visible across the school community. Tip number 5 is about how Edify Play can help you share with the families real evidence of students' oral production. This moment of using Edify Play can become a family moment so parents can see their progress day by day, assist if necessary, and have fun too. But what activities are suggested? One activity is teach your family something. Using any Edify Play activity, students teach their parents a new word or expression. For example, 3 words vocabulary from a unit, how to say I like or I don't like, or something interesting they learned while using the greenhouse activities. Another activity is talk to Edibot, and it works like this. Students have a short conversation with Edibot, the app's talking robot. The student asks the first question, then the parent suggests a level-appropriate question in Portuguese, so the child can keep the conversation going in English, acting as a little translator for their parents. It doesn't have to be done all the time, but occasionally it's a great way to make students' progress visible.
I agree, Andrea. And you know, my students love Edify Play.
Good.
The more parents are involved, the better it is for kids learning.
Loved them too, Dani. We really hope these strategies will help you increase the meaningful speaking time and gather evidence of learning that can be shared with the whole community.
It's really important to make students' progress visible, and we saw today how small practical strategies can show real growth. But unfortunately, we've reached the end of this event. What an amazing journey we had together, right, Rafa?
Yes, and this was a fantastic way to kick off Teachers Rewards, your professional development program. Today we focused on education of the future and explored global citizenship through green skills, the use of technology and AI, and of course, strategies to help students communicate more confidently in English.
Yeah, and teachers are the key to unlock students' global citizenship. Your role is essential in guiding them, inspiring them, and creating opportunities for learning every day. With your support, students can think critically, act responsibly, and grow as active global citizens.
Yes, we hope you leave this event inspired and ready to bring these ideas into your class. So don't forget to scan the QR code on the screen to fill in the attendance list and start earning 80 points for wonderful rewards. Remember, every action counts.
Yes, Rafa, and be ready for a full year of professional development with Teachers Rewards. This discussion doesn't end here. Keep following our social media for more content, tips, and inspiration on global citizenship.
Thank you all for joining us today. Let's take these ideas forward and make 2026 a year full of learning, engagement, and real impact in the class.
See you next time!